Oh, hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of First Canada Live. It's our season finale. It's been a fabulous season. So much has happened both virtually and in person, and we're here to celebrate and recognize some success stories from teams across the province it was good. It was good. It's been so long since we've seen everyone, but hey, we have a lot to talk about, and we'll get into that in a moment. But hey, as Canadians, it is important to recognize the land of which we are a part. As we gather for this meeting, physically dispersed and virtually constructed, let us take a moment to reflect upon the meaning of place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we celebrate today. We acknowledge the elders, youth, past, present, and emerging, of all land on which we work and live. We honor the ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. We acknowledge this land out of respect for the Indigenous nations who have cared for Turtle Island, also called North America. The Indigenous people have been gifted the role of caretakers of this land long before the arrival of settler peoples until today. But most importantly, we remember the history of these lands and people that have been tainted by poor treatment and a lack of friendship with the First Nations who called Canada home long before it was given this name. This history is something that everyone is affected by. We are all treaty people in Canada. We all have a shared history to reflect upon, and each of us is affected by this history in many different ways. Our past defines our present, but if we move forward as friends and allies, it does not define our future. All right, folks, we've got a lot going on today. And so to get us started, I'd like to introduce our co-host. She's a student on FRC Team 6135 Arctos and a member of the First Canada Youth Council. Welcome, Srila.
Hi, everyone. My name is Srila, and as Karthik mentioned, I'm a part of the Youth Council, and I'm from Team 6135, and I'm really excited to be co-hosting the final episode of this season with Karthik.
I know, Srila. It's going to be a good one. First off, love the Youth Council rugby jersey. It's pretty slick.
Thank you.
Little disappointed that you don't have the bucket hat, but, you know, we'll see what's going on with that. But maybe you'll pull it out during a break for us or something. Srila, a lot of what we're doing today is we're recapping some of the cool things that happened at the Provincial Championship and at the championship in Houston. We've got our Ontario Woody Flowers Finalist Award winner for 2022, Niall O'Driscoll from Team 7480, the Machine Mavericks here. Team spotlights with Team 77 who?
772.
That's right, 1114, 2056. We got the jumping robot. We got 4907 here. Did you ever see my flow chart this year, Sheila?
I don't think so, but tell me a little bit.
I wish I had it with maybe, you know what, I might grab it in between segments or something here. But the flow chart basically, it was like, does Karthik care about a robot? And then the first question is, does it jump? And if the answer is no, please leave me alone. I just want, all season long, I was like, someone was like, Karthik, you care about this match? I'm like, oh, because a robot's going to jump. It was just
that does ring a bell.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. We've got the rookie team who represented Ontario at World. I keep calling it Worlds. I'm not supposed to. It's the first championship. That's the first championship. Team 8574 is here. We got one of our scholarship winners, Julia. But Srila, you were at the championship this year, correct?
I was, yeah.
So you were there with the Arctos, and tell us a little bit about what your experience was like.
Well, we never expected on going. It was really lucky. We were really lucky to get to go, and it was super awesome. We were really surprised that there were so many teams there from so many different places, and everyone was so wonderful. Even though unfortunately we didn't make it to playoffs, we still had an amazing time and got to meet so many amazing people, and it was a great experience overall.
What was your highlight of the championship?
The highlight, honestly, it was the dinners. Every event, after every day of the event, we went to a little restaurant in Houston because we wanted to do some touristy things too. Yeah. And it was the time we spent at those dinners with my team and sometimes with other teams. That was really nice.
Which restaurants did you hit? Because I need recommendations for next.
Honestly, I don't remember the names of them, but I have a list somewhere that I could definitely send you.
Okay, so let me tell you. So I went to because I love going out for dinner at championship as well when it's not too busy. Because again, you're in a different city, you're in a different country, so you should explore, you should try things. So I went to the Saltgrass Steakhouse, which is in the convention center. You probably saw it as you were walking into the building or whatever, and that was delicious. Where you can get jalapeno pepper stuffed with a shrimp, stuffed with cheese, and then deep fried. It's absolutely delicious. It's great. I'm a big fan of that. Then on the second day, we went to the Mexican restaurant inside the Hilton, Papacitos, which was, if you're in Texas, you need to get some Tex-Mex. That makes a lot of sense. And then the next 2 days, we ate from the food trucks that were just outside, and it was so nice because the weather was beautiful, like it was this weekend here in Southern Ontario, but it was like that in April. So you could just eat outside. It was really nice. It was casual. You just get some awfully unhealthy, greasy fried food and whatever. But my highlight food-wise, the hotel I was at had a little little tuck shop in there, and in there they had ice cream bars. They had strawberry shortcake ice cream bars, the ones with the little like cake bits on the outside, and that's like my favorite thing. They're so hard to find in Canada, and like I had one of those on like the last day, and I was like, oh, next year I'm like, I don't care what hotel I'm staying at, I'm going to that hotel every day for an ice cream bar. I don't care about whatever low sugar diet I'm on at that time. Like there was just no dieting that weekend. It was like all about whatever. I had so much sweet tea. I love the sweet iced tea that you can get in Texas. Oh, it was good. It was a lot of fun. That was us just celebrating a little bit of wellness, the wellness we had at Championship. But now it's time for the Youth Council wellness moment, just to think about our mental health. So Sheila, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, definitely. So today I kept it a little simple, and the one I want to share with everyone today is listening to music. And I know it sounds simple, but sometimes when you're not in the greatest mood, personally, I just have playlists on Spotify that are, depending on the mood I'm in, I'll listen to it. And something that, like, when I listen to those playlists, I feel really validated, and I tell myself it's okay to not always feel 100% like, which is something that I feel like a lot of people are expected to do. Everyone tells you to always be on top of your game, doing the best that you can always. But it's just nice to feel validated and feel that you don't have to always be 100%. It's okay not to be okay, as Halsey once said.
Yeah, it's okay not to be okay, and it sounds trite, but it's so meaningful. And music is definitely helps our moods and everything. So I think now we're going to jump into some news updates. We started off the show by saying this is the season finale of First Canada Live. This is the last episode of the year, but don't worry, folks. We will be back in the fall. We're not sure what the schedule is going to look like then, but most certainly will probably be Tuesday nights again, and we'll do episodes, and then we'll move it into the season. But we're talking about some cool stuff for next season, so it's going to be interesting. But this is the last episode, so don't tune in the next few Tuesday nights. Go outside, have some fun, just enjoy the weather. If your team is looking for more support, I really recommend joining the Ontario Team Support Slack group. It is a really great place for teams to get information, to ask questions about robot troubleshooting, to find out about new events and such. So we're dropping a link in chat right there if you're interested in that. But hey, we got something cool happening on June 4th. It is the First Canada Girls and Allies Youth Summit. It is back. The last time we had one of these was pre-pandemic. This is an in-person event, folks. June 4th, 2022, for a full day of inspirational conversations, team building activities, and opportunities to network with industry mentors from various STEM fields. So these are for any girls or allies within the FIRST community. We only have spots. It's limited attendance, so you want to sign up right away. The only thing is you need to have been on an FRC or an FTC team in Ontario. So this is for current FIRST students as is. If your team didn't compete this year, that's okay, but just apply. Link is going to be coming in chat, but registration closes on May 20th. Sheila, are you going to be there?
I am going to be there. I'm actually going to be running a few activities there as well with some of the youth council members. So definitely come down or up there,
depending where you are, up, down, left, right. But the Kingbridge Center is absolutely beautiful. It is gorgeous. Have you been there before, Sheila?
I haven't. This is my first time going. Yeah,
it is fabulous. I really recommend people sign up. It's free of charge, but it's first come, first serve. So get those applications in quickly. And that's it for our news updates. We've got a jam-packed show, and so we are going to be back with our first guest after a word from one of our sponsors, 3M Canada.
So first, robotics competition is the epitome of the robotics competitions here in Canada. It's an opportunity for high school students to get involved in the engineering design of an entire robotics system.
People think robotics is all about building the robot, right? But building the robot is only half the challenge. Building the robot is actually a vehicle for you to build your own self.
For our Canadian manufacturers to stay competitive, there's a lot of automation and robotics that have to go into our manufacturing facilities. So the skills that the kids are learning in this competition hit that mark spot on.
There's definitely the technical ones. You know, I've learned how to do CAD design. I've learned how to work machines. But one of the really, really big ones that I really like is and I think it's really important in this world, is I've learned how to work with a team. Without being able to work as a team going into industry, it's not going to work out.
There are absolutely skills that the students are using today that are things that we use in professional careers that have to do with STEM. They are learning how to communicate, they're learning how to collaborate, they're learning how to think outside the box so that they're not limiting themselves to one thing. They're getting to do coding, marketing, design, engineering, science, the whole 9 yards all together.
It really teaches you all these different skills that you wouldn't think that you would know. It teaches you, how to work with other people, how to do soft skills, communication, teamwork, leadership, all that kind of stuff.
Some of our alumni have gone on to receive excellent scholarships at top-tier universities, and because of that, they've started getting known well by top-tier companies, which allows our brand to carry on as they work for large technological companies in the programming sector, in the automation sector. It's really interesting to see where we end up.
All right, we're back, and now we're going to get into our guests. We got a jam-packed show. So first off, please welcome our first guest, mentor of Team 7480, the Machine Mavericks from Kingston, Ontario. And this is a cool one, get to announce it. The 2022 Ontario Provincial Championship Woody Flowers Finalist Award winner, Niall O'Driscoll. Welcome, Niall. How are you doing?
Thank you, Karthik. I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. The Woody Flowers ceremony at Provincials is one of my favorite sort of things because we have so many teams at that event and there's so many amazing nominees. And then we bring out all the past winners and it's just like this lineup of really cool and inspirational mentors. I am honored to be a part of that lineup. And every time I stand up there, I'm just like, wow, this is so cool. And then usually I'll be beside Mr. Brenner when it's happening. I'm kind of like peeking over to his script to try and see who the next person is going to be. And it was very cool when you won, but what was it like for you when you found out you won? First of all, I guess you knew you were nominated because we would have put your name up at a district event already, but yeah, what was that whole process like for you?
Well, I was totally flummoxed to be selected because there's so many super hardworking, talented, committed coaches and mentors across the province that nobody could really expect to win anything. And I certainly wasn't expecting that. But when they started reading the description and they said a former student of Woody's, I thought, well, that can't be too many people. So I had a bit of an inkling before that actual announcement happened. But yeah, I was really not prepared for that, and I was completely delighted, especially when I get down there. And as you said, there was you and Mark Bredner, and the list goes on of amazing first people. So it was great to be in that company.
Yeah, it's just a very cool group, and obviously very well deserved. And so when I was reading the speech, and so Woody Flowers has always been a role model of mine. Ever since I was a high school student, I joined this program. And then when I heard that you were a student of his, so tell us more, because I never knew this fun fact, and it was really cool that it was in there. So what classes did you have with him? Were you in the famous 2.007 class, or
2007, I guess.
007, yeah.
It was called 270 when I took it.
270,
yeah.
Yes.
It was the same course, and that was the course that Woody invented. It's the Introduction to Mechanical Design, and it seemed like it might have been the inspiration for Lego League, because you had these machines competing on a table about the size of a sheet of plywood.
It was the absolute inspiration for FIRST. Like Woody and Dean have talked about it. I guess Woody used to bring Dean out to that class for the competition day. And this is where first was born in that class.
Well, so the course was that competition part of the course was just, it was like the big game for MIT. Like they didn't really have any big games other than that, but the auditorium would just be packed with people screaming and yelling and cheering on their housemates and so forth. And so it was just crazy. That was only part of the course though, but that was arguably the most fun and famous part of it. And so I really enjoyed that. I can't say I did very well in the competition. I got killed. But you know, it was a single elimination and I lost in the first round.
We've all been there before. We've all been there before.
So and I was there again. I mean, like a good lesson from that course is don't go to the competition with a machine you finished building the night before. So that's a good lesson to learn. But anyway, I had him a couple of other years as well for different projects, mechanical design projects. And so I was working with, he was an advisor in those situations. So I worked more closely with him because there's a lot of people in the 270 contest. But anyway, he was great to work. He was very funny, engaging. He spent a lot of time thinking about your specific problem, even though I'm sure he had a ton of other things to think about and work on. But it was always a pleasure to meet with him, and he was always encouraging and supportive. And I loved it. And when I found out about Lego League, I didn't know that he had anything to do with it. It wasn't until several years later that he was in the hydrodynamics video, and I thought, how did they get Woody to do this? And but I thought the reason I got involved was that I had so much fun with 270 that I thought this is a great thing. This is just like that.
Well, there you go. And so, if you don't mind answering, what year did you have Woody? Because I'm wondering how it lines up with the timeline of first.
Well, so I took that class in 1980. I was a freshman then, and I graduated in 84. So I had him for 80 in 82 and 84. But.
Yeah, because I think it was around 88 or 89 when Dean started coming. Woody and Dean got linked up through some, smart people group or something like that, and they started chatting at that point. And that's where the inspiration for this all came. And I know, like. Myself as just like a student of all of this, I remember there was a PBS documentary on the 270 class. I remember watching that when I was first learning about FIRST. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I'm now, the next time I see you, I'm just going to ask you about like 100 questions about this, which I would do right here on the show if we had more time. But I know Shrila has a question for you.
Thank you. Yeah. And once again, Niall, congratulations. And as a Woody Flowers Award-winning mentor, do you have any advice or anything you'd like to share with the students that are watching tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, winning the award was obviously a big thrill, but I think even more gratifying was the fact that the kids took the trouble to write the essay that won it. And so I think there's a lot of teams that actually don't nominate anybody, but I think there's probably no teams out there without really hardworking, committed mentors. And so I would recommend it if there's a mentor on your team that you think is doing a good job. Write that. Win or lose, they're not going to lose if you write an essay like that. It really is nice.
It's so true because everyone wins, but all you need to do is just present that essay or read that essay to the chosen mentor, and it's life-changing for them because all the mentors that come into this program come in for various reasons, but they're doing it because this program is cool and it's fun and it's empowering and it makes a difference. And sometimes you don't realize how much of a difference you're making as a mentor. I'm sure all of our mentors don't actually truly it will take a while to truly capture that impact, but students definitely should nominate along the way. Now, we are running out of time here, but I'm just wondering, anything else you want to say about the season for not just winning Woody Flowers, but for the Machine Mavericks? I know you have this amazing facility you're in right now. Anything else you'd like to share with the community before you go?
Well, so we had probably 8 teams in the facility over the build and competition season, and we would like to have as many more as we can get. I mean, a challenge in running a team is that it's not like hockey where there's a rink that you can go to or like a baseball diamond. And so we've got this facility that I would say is somewhat underutilized. And if we could get more teams in here and help them understand what it's like to be on the competition field before they actually get there and discover, oh, drat, we can't see the balls on the other side of the hub or whatever, or learn from each other or this facility is to help the entire community, not just for our use. So if we can get more teams in here, they can contact us through our website, machinemavericks.com, and we would love to have more teams and see more teams involved. So.
All right, teams, I really recommend it. Go to machinemavericks.com. If you need a practice field, a space to work, or maybe you drop in for a weekend. I know there was teams that came as far away from Toronto this year to check it out and use the facility. And it's there's nothing like being on the field. So that's a great offer. Thank you, Niall. Thank you, Machine Mavericks, and congratulations again on a well-deserved award. I can't wait to see you in all the award lineups next year.
Great, thank you.
All right, and we will be back after a word from one of our sponsors, Schneider Electric.
The world is full of people telling you who to believe they are. Well, we thought we'd tell you who we're not. Let's start here. We're not in shipping. We don't make lifts. Seriously, no lifts. We do this. We're good at this. And we make all of these. And even though you'll find us here and here, we don't make energy. We make you save it. And you'll be saving the environment too. Are we an internet company? Well, we connect and power just about everything around you, helping machines talk to each other and to you, making your world more personal. We're seeking out the big questions and answering them honestly. Like, how can we make the most of our energy and resources? Or can we make access to energy and digital basic human rights? We're real people, employees, developers, partners, investors, and inventors, all passionate about doing what's right. We're open. Humans of all sorts from all over, learning from each other and about each other. We're not here to save the world. It'll go on with or without us. We're here to help power and connect what you do every day, to ensure life is on everywhere, for everyone, at every moment.
All right, we're back. Sheila, did you realize that Niall had been one of Woody Flower's students?
I didn't know that. I was very surprised to find that out.
That's so cool. Like that's like that would have been a dream.
Amazing.
That would have just been like the dream to have. And please, I had some amazing teachers and professors along the way, but that just would have been a really, really cool experience. So that was a cool story. And hey, speaking of cool stories, welcome our next guest. We got Team 8574 Audamus from Toronto, Ontario. 2022 Ontario Provincial Championship Rookie All-Star Award winners. We have Cynthia and Anthony, along with their mentor Priscilla. Welcome, team. How's it going?
It's going well. How about you?
I am doing good. It feels like it's like a reunion day almost. It's been so long since I've seen our friends from our various teams. But your team had an amazing success story. Rookie team all the way to the championship. There's not many that make that journey. So as a rookie team, what was your event experience like this season?
I think if I had to describe our event experience this season, it would just be in one word: hectic.
Yeah, I can feel that.
From all the one-day events, all of just staying in the queuing area to change bumpers before going back in the field with no time in the pits, all the way to having only several days to plan for Worlds, although we were preparing before then. Everything was just hectic, but amazing.
Yeah, it was a rush this year. You're right. And, it's wild because those single day events seem so far away to me right now, even though they're only like 5 weeks ago. But the intensity of that, and then, switching to the full day experience at the provincial championships, and then the transition to Worlds. And Priscilla, what was that like for you as a mentor, getting the team all planned out and ready, and suddenly, like, from qualifying on Saturday, we bring you into a room on Saturday evening saying, are you going or not going? And then you have to like pretty much hop on a bus like on Monday night, Tuesday morning.
Monday night, we jumped on a bus, and 36 hours later, we were in Texas.
Wow.
As Anthony said, it was hectic but wonderful all in one. I was honored that, they chose me to come along and be with them. So as much as they thank me, I'm always like, I'm so honored to be helping you, because I was in awe of the team. And their drive kind of gave me drive to help them. So I was just in awe of the team, especially being rookies during, COVID still. So everything, and they still were able to piece together. So super proud, super amazing.
It is definitely very cool and just a great accomplishment. And so I want to know for the team, I think back to my first time at championship and how that's just like a memory that'll be seared in me, walking into the venue for the first time at Epcot Center, walking onto the field as a drive coach for the first time. But what was it like for you to walk out under the big lights at Houston?
It was definitely like a bigger scale than any one of us could have imagined. And it was a really great experience for us because the venue was huge. There were like 10 fields and the pits were like really spaced out. Yeah, I don't think any of us could have imagined ever being at something like this.
Yeah, funny story actually. Cynthia is currently a senior, and for the past few years, we've been trying to raise funds to participate in FRC, and this was her first and last high school year to participate in FRC. So I don't think she really expected that she would make it all the way to Worlds.
Cynthia, that's funny that we tell that story, but I only did 1 year first as a high school student as well. We competed in a smaller competition, and then we finally, Mr. Brenner's like, okay, we're going to World. We're going to first this year. And so it was only 1 year. It was like my first year and last year, but it was just overwhelming. And, a lot of years later, look, I'm still here. So, we see how that goes. Shrila, do you have a question for the team?
I do. I was actually, they were right across from us at Provincials. I don't know if you remember. And, yeah, and we saw you guys making some changes to your robot. So do you mind telling us a little bit about how your robot improved or how your team improved throughout the season?
After our first event at York, we definitely had a lot of changes in mind in the week before, like our second event at St. Mary. At York, our first qualification match, our robot did not move at all. And it was so then after that we had to like really make quick changes during the competition, and then in the week before St. Mary make other improvements so it actually does move on the field.
And then just from the simplest things like reliability to like our robot had no more dead matches after St. Mary's. So just like looking at strategy, getting like people involved, looking at how other teams were doing, looking at how we were doing, etc. It's all the logistics behind everything.
Yeah. Something. Yeah. So at St. Mary, our strategy team like really improved a lot. Their match scouting data really improved.
Well, and it's one of the beautiful things about FIRST, the constant improvement and iteration that happens through the build season, and then you go to competitions, and just from match to match, you're learning along the way. And especially the rookie team, there's just so many lessons that are being fired along. It's really neat to see. And so, gracious professionalism is a concept that's kind of entwined in everything we do in FIRST. But I'm always curious for the rookies. Because it's a little bit new, it's a little bit different, but do you have a specific gracious professionalism moment from the season to share or that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, definitely. So at Worlds, the first championships, one of the days a student was in the hotel looking for their wallet, and our school board policy was that we couldn't like take off and leave without them. And that day we were playing one of the first matches, so our robot was there all alone while we were at the hotel 10 minutes away. So we actually coordinated with some other Canadian teams, 3161. Daniel, who was there for the Dean's List Award, 6865, and they're 865 Warp 7, and there are a few more non-Canadian teams there that they helped us get a robot on the field, like change the bumpers, change the batteries, fix everything, like physically bring a robot on the field. So when their drive team arrived at the last moment, they were able to drive it.
That is so cool. That is
amazing.
Yeah, it's just how everyone's there to help. Everyone's ready to step in, and everyone, it just, and it's, for so many of the Canadian teams this year, everyone brought small groups. So for a team to be able to help in that situation, they're actually, taking away from their own team, but it's just the teams are just there to help and do the right thing. And so that's a fabulous story. Congratulations, team, on a great season. The cool thing about being a rookie is that you get to be a second-year team next year, and we can't wait to see how that goes. And Cynthia, congratulations on your grade 12 year. And do you know where you're going to be headed next year?
Not yet.
That's okay. No, I'm not going to be the dude who rushes you or anything like that. Well, good luck wherever that journey takes you. And hopefully you can find some time to still be involved in FIRST either next year or long into the future. But thanks so much for being here, team. And congratulations again on a fabulous rookie season. And we are going to be back with our next team in just a moment.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and we're back because we can't waste any time. There are so many teams coming on here. So now I'd like to introduce our 2022 Ontario Provincial Championship Engineering Inspiration Award winners. They are from LaSalle, Ontario. None of the team 77 who?
772.
That's right. Sabre Robotics. Welcome, Lindsay, Emily, Madison, Hanya, and their mentor, Abby. How's it going, team?
Good. How are you?
I am fabulous. Better now to see my friends from 772. So congratulations again on a great provincial championship, winning the Engineering Inspiration Award. This is an award you all are very familiar with. You've even won it at a division at the World Champion. I'm never going to stop saying that at the FIRST Championship, not the World Championship. FTC calls it the World Championship, but not FTC. It's very confusing there. But could one of you explain to the audience what the Engineering Inspiration Award is? Because I don't think a lot of people they only hear about it like when they hear the award script and then they are just cheering for whoever won. So someone will give us a little bit of information on that award?
For sure. So as we all know, FIRST is more than robots. So FIRST has made some awards to recognize efforts by team that might not include the robot build. So one of these is Engineering Inspirations, and it's dedicated to a team that uses their platform to spread a passion and respect for STEM and robotics.
Fabulous. And I think that's a really succinct explanation. Emily, you should be like a speaker for FIRST on all this stuff. You're you kind of nailed it. But I'd love to know what specific teams did your team do to earn this award? And please don't be humble here. Tell everyone about all the awesome things you're doing. Because I think when teams win a robot award, it's usually pretty obvious why they've won because we watch their robot on the field over and over again. But for awards like Engineering Inspiration and Chairman's and Gracious Professionalism Award, only the judges hear about the cool things. So that's why we wanted to bring you here. So tell us all the awesome things that 772 has been doing.
Yes, exactly. Other teams only get to hear what they hear in the little snippet and then try to make their guesses as to who actually won. But we actually coined a phrase directly from our chairman's script and our chairman's presentation, which is how we shifted our gears into the world of the pandemic. And so our chairman's theme, for a little bit of insight, was revolving around gears. I don't know if you can see my jersey, but our logo is a gear. So we had a lot of puns revolving around gears in our chairman's script. But one of the biggest things we did to shift into the virtuality of the pandemic was run virtual STEM camps for kids as part of our FLL Without Borders initiative. So over the past couple of years during the pandemic, we've run more than 60 hours of virtual camps. And now that things are getting back in person, we've started running in-person camps as well, which is super exciting. So these camps were in partnership with many local organizations like local libraries, Girl Guides, and the Briarswood Youth Optimist Club. And they use the FIRST core values in FTC Sim to inspire youth and introduce them to FIRST and STEAM. Another thing that we shifted during the pandemic was our Sabre Hub, which is one of only 4 super hubs in all of Ontario. So before the pandemic, we used to get teams to come into our workshop and help them one-on-one, but obviously with the pandemic, that wasn't possible. But we did continue virtual mentorship using Zoom and our published resources like our Business in a Box. We also continued virtual outreach by sending videos to community events. Now that we're back in person though, yay, we've started getting teams back into our workshop for hands-on help and have already assisted 2 teams, which we will only keep growing from now. And we're now beginning to participate in in-person outreach events again. And we actually have our first one coming up this weekend, which we're really looking forward to. We've also done many other things, which I'm sure Emily would love to tell you more about.
So Lindsay spoke a bit about how we get youth involved in STEM for the first time, but we're also always working to get high school students outside of our team involved as well. One example of this would be the robotics courses at our school that teach the basics of engineering and STEM. And we also have our social media. We use educational content and relatable content to reach as many people as possible on multiple different platforms. We're already working on some plans for next year, including some expansions to public resources for our Sabre Hub, as well as some events open to all first teams. So make sure to keep an eye on our social media to join us.
Well, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. It's always great to see. And thank you so much. That's like, it's just so cool how much outreach you're able to do. And I love that you were able to shift gears through the pandemic into more virtual space, but now you're shifting gears again as things open up a little bit more to regain those kind of in-person interactions, which is really neat. And Shrila, I'm wondering if you have a question for the team.
Yes. So aside from winning this the Awesome Engineering Inspiration Award, what was your Provincial's experience like this year? Do all of you have like a little highlight you want to share with us today?
The experience was definitely overwhelming, but in a good way. This was my first year on the team, so I wasn't sure what to expect. And I knew a few things from going to regional events, but I had no idea what a bigger scale event would be like. Part of me knew that the venue would have to be big to fit like all the great teams coming, but I was still surprised by how big it was and how many people were there. I was also a last minute addition to the chairman's team, so I spent a lot of time getting ready for that, and that was definitely fun too. Now I'm going to pass it on to Madison to talk about it from a more experienced point of view.
So for myself, I'm in grade 12 this year, my final year. But really the only actual year I had was my rookie year, grade 9. So really seeing the difference between grade 9 and grade 12 of how I really see the competition. Grade 9, I was really just a really giddy, like, oh my God, I'm at a robotics competition. I was so happy. But I feel like this year I was more into like a actual practical standpoint with the robot and everything, considering I'm the programming leader now. So I had to actually have my head in the game. But I definitely think it was amazing seeing everyone again, because I did get a couple friends along the way on different teams that I didn't get to see. And then I got to see them all again and make new ones. So I was so happy with that. And overall, it's been an amazing grade 12 year, and I can't wait to come back.
And Madison, you say you can't wait to come back because, you know, I've noticed over the years, 772 has this great tradition of alumni coming back either as mentors or as volunteers. Abby, you volunteer as a CSA up here. And so, and maybe Abby, maybe you're the best one to answer this question. Why do you think so many 772 students come back?
I think it's probably that our mentors, I mean, like when we were on the team, we were inspired ourselves. You know, you always have that one mentor who kind of inspired you the most. I mean, me personally, I always come back because I want the students to have the exact same experience that I did. I want them to, you know, think when they graduate, like, wow, I really want to impact somebody the way that I was impacted. And I do know, like, that's why a lot of our mentors come back. It's just they had that experience when they were on the team, and they want to kind of give back to our own team and other teams as well, give them that experience.
And Abby, on that topic, you want to, if I were to ask you, why should, you know, we have probably a lot of grade 12s who are watching today. Why should grade 12s come back next year and maybe volunteer at an event or two? Why should they do
that? Well, volunteering in general, not only is it a ton of fun, but it also gives you a ton of experience. Basically, anything you want to do. I know, like me personally, although I was a CSA at the provincial champs, I did get, you know, the opportunity to scorekeep a little bit here and there. So, you know, you got a broad range of experience that you can get working with teams, doing sort of different things there. As long as like meeting people along the way, you meet lots of great connections, kind of network that way. So it's good both ways. You have lots of fun, but you also get to gain your own experiences.
And it is wild, the amount of volunteers over the years. And it is like a significant number who have gotten either internships or new full-time jobs through volunteering, just the people that they've met. And there's, because when you're volunteering, people see you working for 3 days in a like we know how intense first events are, and it's people who, you know, are like, well, if they can handle this for 2-3 days, then definitely they can work at our company. And just it's that kind of experience or whatever. So I recommend volunteering. It's a blast. I love being at the events. I just love being around everyone. 772, thank you so much for being here. Anything you'd like to plug? I know you're doing some cool outreach stuff. I know, Emily, you teased that you have something cool coming up. I guess you can't tell us yet, but anything you'd like to plug in the meantime, maybe your social media where people can find out about all these events?
Sure. So, do you have the exact handle, Lindsay?
It's FRC Team 772, I believe.
Thank you, Madison.
We also have our FTC team, 16183, so go follow them as well. We have multiple different platforms. So we are on Instagram, which is our main one right now. We just started TikTok, so we're hoping to get more content out on that. Facebook and Twitter. Basically just search like FRC 772, which should pop up. I don't know the exact handles, unfortunately. I think Madison's right for our Instagram one, but I don't know if it's the same on all the others. But yes, we have educational posts on that. We have relatable, funny content, especially on TikTok now. And we are also promoting a bunch of our events and initiatives. So one of the ones that we actually promoted at Provincials was our Buttons Be Gone initiative, which we are getting back out there. So if you guys have any buttons from any of the events, now that we're back in person especially, send them our way. We will recycle them for you.
That is such a good initiative. We should not be creating excess waste, people. We need to reduce, we need to reuse, we need to recycle. Team 772, thank you for being here. Thanks for everything you do for our community. Thanks for the support you give, and just thanks for being awesome. And folks, we will be back with our next guest in just a couple seconds. Real, this show is like Fast and Furious. It's just like, all right, next guest, next guest. So we have so many awesome people to recognize. And our next guest, she's been a regular on First Canada Live over the last couple of years. She is a student from Team 7456, Robotics from Aurora, a member of the First Canada Youth Council, and the 2022 winner of the Don Bosey Innovation and Leadership Scholarship. Please welcome Julia.
Hello.
Hey, friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I am good. I heard, well, I didn't hear. I know you stayed up all night on Saturday night as part of the STEM-a-thon. You were volunteering there. So have you got your sleep schedule back to normal yet?
Yes, I have. That was quite the night.
It's an intense event. So Julia, you had the good fortune of, well, I shouldn't just say good fortune, because it's skill, it's talent. You very deservedly won an award, the Don Bosey Innovation Leadership Canadian Scholarship. But what was it like finding out that you won? Because you weren't actually at the event.
No, I wasn't. So finding out, I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb for most of the time. Like I have all my notifications muted. I can't deal with it. But then I'm just chilling and I check my phone and it's like blowing up. And I was like, what is going on? And I check and I get a message, a text message from Reedy. Like, that's weird. Why would she text me on iMessage? And I check and it's like a video of her screaming at the top of her lungs.
Who was that from?
From Reedy on the Youth Council. Yeah. She sent me the video of her screaming of like them announcing, I think it was you, Karthik, announcing that I had won the award. And she's like, congrats. Everyone was saying congrats. And I was just so confused. I was like, what is going on? It was surreal. I still barely believe it. Like it's crazy.
Well, it was well deserved. We wished you could have been there. I actually had when I found out it was you who was winning, I was like, okay, well, why don't it's like, oh, she can't make it or whatever. I'm like, well, why don't we just send a van over there, just grab her and toss her in the van? And someone's like, no, that's kidnapping. And I'm like, oh, okay, but other people had more gentle ideas than my abduction plan, but we wanted you to be there. But I'm so glad that you had a moment and that your friends were all supporting you in that moment. And then after you won, a few days later, I believe you were able to actually have a call with Don Bosey. So for those of you who don't know, Don Bosey is the former president of First and now is the, I believe, chair of the board of directors for First. So what was it like meeting Don and connecting with him?
It was pretty nerve-wracking, not gonna lie. It was pretty nerve-wracking.
He's kind of a big deal. I get nervous I get nervous talking to Don as well.
Joanna was texting me things I should prepare. So all day I was making little notes of what I could say, and she's prepare some questions for him. So I was stressing all day, and then I joined the meeting and my Wi-Fi goes out. And so I had to go fix my Wi-Fi, and they're waiting, and they're just about to I think they were just about to hang up the call. They're like, well, we might have to connect with her later. And I just joined back. I'm like, I'm here, I promise. But then the rest of the meeting goes smoothly. He was super nice, very talkative, which is good because I was scared I wasn't going to have enough to say, but he carried, it was great. He was very sweet. Yeah, it was very, he told stories. I asked him about some advice he would give to people, and he left with some great wisdom, which is awesome to hear.
That's fabulous. Shrila, you got a question for Julia?
Yeah, so I mean, we're on youth council together, so we've worked on, I think, a couple of things, but I always see you wherever I go, I'm like, oh my goodness, Julia's involved with so many of her initiatives, and it's so awesome to see. But I wanted to hear personally, what do you think, for you, what do you think made you, what was the key to winning for you?
Oh, that's so hard to say. Sorry.
No, I'm just coughing because and I forgot to mute. Sorry.
That's all right. I was just gonna say that I think I do a lot because I enjoy doing a lot. So I've been involved in first since grade 6. So I've been here for a while. I started in FLL, and then I liked FLL so much that in grade 10 I started mentoring an FLL team, and I've been mentoring them ever since. So I've been involved in a lot. I run my robotics team, I'm on the youth council, and I think just having so much to talk about kind of gave me, I guess, I don't know, gave me lots to talk about in my application. And then also my reference letter was written by my head mentor of the team. So I've known him for 4 years and I work closely with him. So I think that also was very beneficial. I think just having, being out in the community a lot definitely helps.
And Julia, and Shrila alluded to it, and you alluded to it, you're very busy. You do a lot for First, but you do a lot outside. I believe you work 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been able to balance all this?
Well, it's a struggle, but I've kind of got the hang of it after a few months. But at first, during the holiday hours, I was working 5 out of 7 days a week. But I've cut my hours down. That's definitely been the balance, is cutting my hours down. I work only 4 days a week now. So
well, you really cut back there,
only
Tish.
4.
Yeah, right.
Only 4.
But I think just having a good schedule, I love to make lists. So I make a list of all the things I need to accomplish in the day. Then I check it off once I get everything done. And then using school time wisely, instead of I used to just waste my whole days at school and go home and be well, now I have to do all this homework that I didn't do in school. So just utilizing all the free time that you have, when we were waiting for my segment, I was doing homework. I had a big physics test tomorrow that I have to study for. So I was studying for homework. But yeah, just kind of finding that balance. And it's also important to remember to go out and enjoy yourself too. So I think that because I like what I do, it's not that bad.
Well, I think that's part of the key, is that you feel less busy when you're enjoying what you're doing.
Exactly.
And to choose, obviously there's some things we can't choose. There's some things that we just have to do. And, even if you love your job or you love your school, or whatever, there's always things it's I have to do this. But then with our own time, our spare time, it's about choosing things that we want to do. And I think that's why so many first students excel, because they're here because they like being here. So it doesn't feel like they're working. Julia, where are you headed next year? And are there any other scholarships or any other announcements to tell us about?
Well, I'm heading to the University of Dalhousie. I just accepted my offer this week, and I'm going to get a Bachelor of Science. And Dalhousie did actually give me 2 scholarships. They gave me just the normal entrance scholarship, and then the Dalhousie Entrance Community and Leadership Award, which is very exciting.
So you've won 2 leadership awards at Dalhousie and Dalhousie. That's very, very cool. And as we're running out of time here, Julia, I would love to know, and I know this FRC season was different for you because your team wasn't able to compete this year, but you were still able to stay involved. What was your favorite part of the season?
Ooh,
or definitely
probably going and volunteering at in-person competitions. That was very fun. I think, there's so many favorite memories. I just remember after, I think it was Humber, me and I think it was Reedy. Sorry, everyone's getting mixed up in my mind. Me and Reedy stayed afterwards, helped cleaned up. We had a sign, I think. Shrila, did you split the sign with us?
three of us have like a piece of the sign.
I still have it in my closet upstairs.
I remember we like took videos of us trying to rearrange the sign, but I don't. It didn't go very well.
What sign was it?
The Humber sign.
Yeah,
that people take pictures with.
Right, yeah.
It's on my floor right now. Like it's still
well, you're like connected now forever. Like you're the puzzle pieces, you know, like you have to have a reunion like 5 years from now or whatever at an event. You put the pieces back together. That's fabulous. Julia, will we be seeing you at the Youth Summit on June 4th? Oh, did Julia's internet die for a second?
Am I back?
You're back. June 4th. Will we be seeing you at the Youth Summit?
Yes, you will.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Julia, congratulations again. Can't wait to see you at the Youth Summit. And thanks for everything you've done this season. And good luck on the physics test tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Good night. We'll be back in just a moment with our next guests. All right, we're back. You know, Shrila, I had a great time at the first championship in Houston, except I picked up something, and it wasn't COVID because I tested negative 8 billion times or whatever, but I picked up this cough that just will not go away, and it just rears its head at all times. But hey,
that happens everywhere.
Oh, it's just brutal. The plague that you pick up out there.
Oh.
All right, our next guest, 2022 Ontario Provincial Championship event winners. That's right, #1 seed and rolled through, except for a weird red card, division semi-finalists at the championship in Houston. It is none other than Team 2056 OP Robotics from Stony Creek, Ontario. So welcome, Balraj, Ian, Vanshika, and their mentor, Tom. How's it going, OP?
Good. How are you, Karthik?
I am fabulous. This show is so much fun. There's just like lots of cool stuff going on here. And now, you know, the whole theme of this show was Canadian success stories. And your team this year had a great season, winning the St. Mary event, winning the provincial championship. I'm just going to copy and paste everything I'm saying because it applies to the next team that we have coming on as well. The same sorts of things. And a great run at the championship in Houston. So, everyone, you know, we've seen the robot in person. In my opinion, it was the best robot in all of Canada this year. Really efficient shooting, both while moving. It was cool to see. Tell us about the OP robot for this season.
You want to jump in there?
Barrage, you want to take that question?
Good. I'll do it. So our robot was designed to not only shoot very well, but we made sure that it would climb properly and not fall, and it was pretty consistent at that. It got to traversal pretty often, and I'd say that worked really well, and it was quite quick, and our intake also worked really well after Waterloo.
Okay. All right.
I think our tank drive worked out pretty well because there was a lot of swerve this year, but I think us having a tank drive was also quite helpful in some situations for sure.
It was really good for defense. We just like teams would hit us and we just wouldn't budge anywhere.
Yeah, it was also good because we had like auto tracking for our turret. So no matter where we were on the field, it was really easy to track the upper hub and just like shoot from anywhere. So that was pretty cool.
You know, I think that was one of the keys. I think for like, you know, if you looked at it, especially a championship, like almost every team in the elims had one of two things. They had a swerve drive or they had a turret, you know, and there was some that had both. And it was like to compete at that highest level, you needed one of the two. And Vanshika, you were on the show early on this season as a co-host for First Canada Live, and we talked about the excitement for this game and how cool we thought this game was. After the whole season, what are your thoughts on this game?
I think it was like one of my favorite games. Like it was so much fun, especially like being behind the glass. Like this is my first year ever on like drive team, and I was like operator, so it was a little bit of pressure on me, but it was like so much fun like playing and just like being able to see like all your hard work on the field, being able to like climb and like shoot. Like it was pretty cool because like there were some alliances where teams were like, we want like 2 good shooters and then like a good hanging robot, or they'll have like all 3 robots that can hang, or, you know, they'll have 2 hanging robots that are good at shooting and then 1 defense robot. So it's really cool to see how you can have like a different combination of robots on your alliance and to see how it would like play out.
Yeah, and at Provincial, I thought it was really interesting how your alliance played things out, because you had 3 robots that could traverse on that alliance, but you only used 2 of them to traverse. You kept 11-14 on the field, and they just kept shooting throughout the match. And I thought that was a really unique strategy. So that was fun to see. Balraj, earlier you said that, you know, your intake was good, but you wasn't as good as you wanted to be at Waterloo, which is, you know, I think most people out there would have happily taken that intake, but that's cool. But how did your robot improve over the year?
So one of the biggest things we improved was the intake. So at Waterloo, the tube, the main like cross member just got bent when it hit one of the hanger trusses. And what we did is we basically came together, like went online on Discord. We like, cause this year due to COVID, we designed everything online. What's it called? We just improved it. We like made it bigger. We made it thicker. We added a bigger tube. It was way stronger. And the other thing one thing else we improved a lot was the ratchet hooks. So the hooks, the secondary hooks that ratcheted onto the bar, we like had like, I think we had to redo them like 7 times to get the best outcome. I think by the 4th one, they were pretty good, but by the 7th one, they were almost perfect. And then also software wise, we made the autonomous opportunistic. So we could sometimes get a 6th ball, and our auto tracking got better.
Yeah, it's always amazing to see how robots that start off really good still continue to elevate and keep hitting things up as we go along. Shrila, I was wondering if you have a question for OP.
Yeah, so you guys mentioned like not so long ago that you did most of your design online, which is pretty cool. And it sounds like it might have been a little harder to manage because remote work, you're not like in person. It's a lot harder like you might want to speak in a meeting, but then you overlap with someone else. So how did you manage that remote work this year, and how did you make sure it was as effective as it could possibly be?
I mean, it was a lot of communication that kind of just like goes into it, like making sure that everybody's on the same page and just making sure that everybody knows what's happening. So like if we have like a meeting in Discord on like a Tuesday, we would like, you know, reach out to the channel and be like, hey guys, like there's a meeting at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. And then the day of the meeting, also remind everybody so everybody joins. And then at the same time, sometimes we'll take meeting notes. So if people can't join, we'll just like catch them up afterwards and be like, hey, this is what you missed. So like nobody's like out of the loop kind of. But we did a lot of like remote scouting as well that Ian will talk about.
Yeah, so we were our scouting team was there for Waterloo, or at the Waterloo event and the Ontario Provincial event. But then for St. Mary's and for the Houston event, we had to do online. For St. Mary's, we were just still on our Discord. We kept our organization up really, really well, and I'm really happy with that. And then with Houston, we actually we got a whole room set up at our school. We had a whole bunch of computers and a projector set up. We just had a big projector screen, and we just kind of scouted off of that. It was a lot of fun. So, and if anything, working virtually was a lot better because we had our computers at home that were much better than the computers at school, or like the iPads that we'd bring to events. So if anything, although events are so fun to be at, Provincials was amazing. Working at home for at least scouting was a bit easier for sure.
And I want to talk a little bit about Provincials because there's 2 specific moments I want to ask about. One, I don't know if you all felt it, but in quarterfinal 1, match 1, the crowd just got really, really loud at one point. And it was, you know, you're playing there. The Blue Alliance took a little bit of a lead, and the crowd, and that was my first time all season long where I was like, oh, we are really back. Did you feel that in the driver's station, Vanshika? And
Oh
Tom?
my gosh, Karthik, I was literally screaming in Caleb's ears when he was driving to tell him where to go. Like by the end of like DCMP, like my voice was gone. Like I was like, I have never screamed louder. And because this is like my first competition and being behind driver station, I did not expect anything to be loud, especially at like St. Marie or Waterloo. Like it wasn't loud as much. Like you can just like talk to the person and you can hear them. But like oh my gosh, at provincials I was like screaming louder than I've ever screamed before, and I have a loud voice, so like I was like 10 times louder.
And
yeah,
then,
I can attest to the loud voice. And from prior experience from being behind the glass at Ontario champs, it was a complete, in my opinion, like return to form of first in Ontario overall. Like everybody going all out despite having limited seating. Just people were full spirit.
And then, at provincials, we have the tradition of locking out the alliances. And so did you realize what a spectacle that was going to be?
Under the lights with the band?
The band. Like,
yeah, it was awesome.
We dragged you all back, but did you know there was going to be a giant steel pan band?
Not until we walked back there. No, I was completely unaware of that. Yeah.
And so what was it like, Tom and Vanshika, walking out?
Vanshika, you want to go? You have that fresh experience.
Oh, it was like super exciting, but it was also like I was so nervous and scared. I was like, I forgot who it was, but it was one of the first camp staffs who was walking us out, and I was talking to her, and I was like, I'm gonna look so stupid walking out, not knowing what to do, because I was like, I've never had like so much like spotlight on me before, and like it was just like super crazy. But I actually liked it so much because it got me like hyped up for like finals, and I was like, you know what, like we're in this now, we're gonna compete. That's pretty cool.
I had the same feeling. Like I helped script that show, but I didn't, going out there, like I was supposed to take like 3 minutes to walk out there, but I just ran full speed because I was just so hyped. I was like, yes, let's go. And it was cool. And it was really cool to be out there with your team. Thank you, Team 2056. Thank you for everything you've done this season, for inspiring, not just this season, but decades of legacy, I guess 15 years now of OP success, especially in that building at Provincials. Thanks for a great season. Congratulations on all the accomplishments. Thanks for being here. And we will be back with our next team that you know pretty well in just a few seconds. All right, and we are back with our next team. Srila, it just keeps happening. It just like keeps happening, right?
Yep.
It's okay. Our next team, I said the introduction is very similar. 2022 Ontario Provincial Championship event winners, also winners of the St. Mary District event, division semifinalists at the first championship in Houston. Welcome, Team 1114 Robotics from St. Catharines, Ontario. And we have Nolan, Elliot, and Liam as students, and mentor Aaron Koshowski. Aaron, you are like the final Koshowski to be on this show, because we've had we had Sherry Lynn Koshowski, your mom. We had Ian Koshowski, regional director for British Columbia. We had Joel Koshowski when he won the Volunteer of the Year award. Jaylene Koshowski has been on. Has your dad been on the show?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And then
not sure.
I guess we'll have to get Sarah on the show after you get married this fall, because we'll have that as well. But thanks, Aaron. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, team. Glad you can be here. Your season was wild, and we'll talk about it because you team was probably one of the teams hit most by the COVID restrictions this year, because I think you didn't have your first in-person meeting until around Valentine's Day. Is that correct? Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
The head's nodding. Yeah. And so this robot that was, one of the best in the world, was built in that short period of time. But I want to know everything about this robot. So please tell us about this robot. Nolan just disappeared. Nolan, you're back. Okay. All right. Tell us about your robot, Simba Sure Shot.
Yeah, definitely. So with this season, we were not able to start building this robot until February 18th. So we knew that we had to design a robot that would be able to be quickly implemented, but still able to do all the functions of the game.
February 18th.
Yes.
I
Yeah, so basically we wanted to be able to build a robot, especially with a smaller team than previous years. So this is our robot Sure Shot. The main things with this robot is it's able to traverse up to the the traversal bar, of course, and also it's able to do all the functions with the high hub. The main cool parts about our robot is our shooter and our wall of wheels. We love to use these very small wheels for our indexer, so I felt that was pretty cool. And with this robot, we had to build it throughout week 1, 2, and 3 of competition season, and also try to fit in practice. So that was definitely a time crunch there, but we were able to bring at Waterloo some competition with us. So,
all right, maybe we can just look through quickly flip through these slides here.
Definitely.
See the intake there, the shooter, which one of the most accurate shooters we saw all season long. Any idea what the key was to making the shooter so accurate? Because it just felt like it rarely missed and had fewer bounce outs than most teams.
Yes, so basically what we did was we actually changed the compression than the original we designed for using a thicker, wider Coulson wheel on the bottom wheel. So that changed the compression of the ball, which made it a little bit more accurate in testing. We also, the angle of our shooter, because we have fixed wheels, we do not have an adjustable hood. Our angle was at the perfect, is basically perfect to shoot in the hub from anywhere with very little bounce out, especially with the upper wheels and the bottom wheels on different RPMs.
And let's just flip through these slides, the indexer, which you talked about, the wall of wheels, which was really cool. And then our next slide. All right, and that's the slides. It's a great robot. And so your robot performed, you know, it had a nice event at Waterloo. You were finalists. It was a good showing or whatever, but then you didn't move in autonomous at Waterloo. And then by the time you got to St. Mary, you suddenly had a 5-ball auto. How did your robot improve so much so quickly?
So during the University of Waterloo event, we experienced problems with our climb, and also we didn't have autonomouses due to just the lack of time between building the robot and getting it onto our practice field. So in between Waterloo and St. Mary's, we were able to get a lot of practice done. We were in basically every day, fixing, improving the climber mainly, reinforcing the intake after a little bit of some problems at Waterloo. And I believe we did our 5-ball auto within a weekend. So we were just grinding it out, trying to get that done.
That is fantastic stuff. Shrila, you got a question for the Simbots?
Yeah, I want to know what everyone's favorite moments were from Provincials or Worlds.
For me personally, my favorite moment at Worlds was during alliance selection when we managed to get 4907 on our alliance. The entire time during the second round, I was just hoping and hoping and hoping that the teams before us didn't pick them so that we could get them. And it was super exciting when we did.
It was very cool. This is now the 6th time in 11-14's history that you've been able to pick or be a part of an alliance with another Canadian team at championship, which is wild to think about. It's 3 times with 2056, once with 4039, once with 610 and the Disco Bots, and now with 4907, which is really cool. And I was standing nearby 4907 right when this was happening, and they were having the same reaction, Nolan, where like they wanted to be picked, but they kind of didn't want to be picked because they wanted to be picked by 11-14. So that was cool to see. I was also, and we'll talk more with 4907 in a bit about this. I was stunned that they didn't get picked sooner because everyone was talking about them, because like everyone wanted to see 4907.
Yeah, but I was scared they were going to get like hype picked because people are going to be so excited to have the jumping robot.
Right.
That they wouldn't fall.
All right. And who else would like to establish Shrila's question? Favorite moments?
Definitely favorite moment was Provincials. It was a great event, getting first back in Canada and having such a great events at the regionals and the provincials. It was great seeing all the teams that we didn't get to see at our 2 regional events, and overall a good competition.
And what about you, Liam?
Mine would have to be walking out from Provincials. Like while watching you kick through, like I saw it in 2019, from the stands, and then getting to like walk out actually being part of the drive team was just an awesome experience.
Yeah, that's the walkout is it's just so cool. There's nothing like it. And what about you, Aaron, as a mentor? You've been doing this for a long time. You were a student on 772, one of our earlier guests, and you've been mentoring 1114 for like 8 years now.
Yeah, that's next year will be my 10th. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, so probably winning provincials with 2056 would have been my highlight. Just seeing the transition from not knowing if we were going to have time to build a robot at all or anything to being able to be provincial champions was amazing.
And we talked to 8574 about this, how they had that turnaround, but you all didn't get permission to go to work. So 1114 traditionally would have been pre-qualified as a Hall of Fame team and could have registered for Worlds back in November, but you turned that down this year, right? Because you didn't think you'd be able to go.
Yeah, it seemed like we were going to be locked down and not able to go if we were lucky to build a robot.
You didn't get permission to go to provincials permission to go to Worlds until Friday of provincials?
Yeah, I think it was the Thursday or so.
And so how did you make that quick turnaround happen?
Well, we didn't believe the school when they kept telling us that we couldn't go. So we just started filling out all the forms and stuff, getting the students' permission forms, and kept bugging them. Got one of our old mentors involved to help us get our way there. And we were just crossing our fingers, really hoping that we could make it. And finally the principal said we could go, and we were shocked.
It was it was a really great turnaround, and it was very cool seeing you all at Worlds. And how many people did you bring to Worlds? I think it was just a handful of students, right?
5 students total. Yeah.
Wow. And so for those, 1114 normally travels very deep at Worlds. It's a very giant squad of a sea of red. And so that small group, what was it like having such a small team at Worlds?
It definitely made everything a little more challenging, especially with scouting. Like we had people staying at home scouting, like calling into work sick just to scout all day for us.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. 1114, anything else that you'd like to share before we go?
Thank you for having us on the show. Definitely.
Absolutely. It's kind of cool because you're like the bridge, you paired with 2056 at provincials, you paired with 4907 who's coming up next. But sorry, Ali, to cut you off there.
Oh, no worries. And then also when we picked up 49.7 at Worlds, actually in the stands, we did a little jump too. It's actually amazing.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to get ready to jump then in just a second. Thank you, Team 1114, not just for coming on the show, but representing Canada honorably as always. It's Canada's only Hall of Fame team. It's always a thrill to have you on the show, and congratulations on a great season once again. And we will be back. We're going to jump into our next segment in just a little bit. All right, folks, let's do this. Our next team, division semifinalists, the first championship in Houston, but that's not what you want to talk about. They are the robot that got the most hype across the world this year. Every year, there's one robot that people talk about. 2008, it was 1114, the aforementioned team. 2010, 469. 2014, 2018, team 254, the Cheesy Poops. But this year, it was team 4907, the Thunder Stamps from St. Thomas, Ontario. Welcome, folks. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Doing pretty well.
So I want to start this off because I know you've seen this, but I don't know if all the audience has seen this. At events this year, so I was at the Waterloo event. It was day one, and I get an email from Andrew. Andrew's like, "Hey, Karthik, I think you might want to see this, it's because I mentioned online a few places, it'd be really cool if a robot jumped, and I didn't think anyone was actually going to do it. I played around with some of the math, and I'm like, man, it would take a tense energy burst. I don't see how anyone could do it. Whatever. I'm a mathematician, not an engineer. And so I guess Andrew sends me this video, and I'm sitting at the scorer's table, and I'm just watching this. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And I'm watching a normal reveal video. I'm like, okay, great. Andrew, robot can shoot. I've seen robots that can shoot. And then it jumped. And I literally screamed at the scorer's table. And everyone's like, what's wrong, Karthik? I'm like, and I just start showing. And then the buzz just went around, and I guess you posted it online, you posted it on Chief Delphi, everyone started talking about it. And it had been so long since I'd been at an event where everyone was talking about a robot that wasn't even here yet. And then the next day, the robot comes out, and I was like, what was it, the hype machine like for the team this year? Because your robot did something that no one else has ever done.
It was pretty amazing, like not only qualifying for Worlds, but coming to Worlds with something to show. Like one of the craziest things was that our pit was just always full. Like I would come back from a match and there would be like a sea of people in front of the pit, and it'd be difficult to actually get the robot in and out of the pit because there's always people there. And like everyone else, we could only bring a few students, a few mentors. And so there were people like Andrew who, wasn't super involved with the building of the robot, or, didn't know much about it at the start of the season. And then by the end of the championship, I heard him just reciting everything he had heard, like talking about how the robot worked. Like, so it was really cool to have not only, that chance to compete, but also that fame at Worlds. Yeah.
It was really cool because it worked out actually perfectly. The team beside you in the pits, Team 4788, they're from Australia, and they couldn't make the trip because of COVID stuff or whatever. So their pit was empty, and it almost was like the viewing area for the 4907 pit. But yeah, so I was so hyped about your robot, and then everyone like kept asking me, like, I was just very singularly, I get focused on things. I was very focused on your robot. Everyone's like, hey, Karthik, have you seen this robot? I'm like, no. Does it jump? I don't care. And so I made a flow chart that I kept at the scorer's table, and so everyone could see this. And this is like, I don't know if you can see that. Does Karthik care about a robot? Does it jump? No. Leave me alone. Please don't bother me. Yes? Okay, I'm paying attention. And so like, I want to say though, like I was like your number one fanboy this year. But like, like how people always talk about me, it's like, oh, I liked them before they were cool. I was a fanboy before you all were cool. Because like going back to 2019, I love that swerve drive of yours, the suction, and then 2020, the R2D2, the circle bumpers and everything like that. So I'm just saying, like, I'm OG in the fan club. I'm number one right here. But this robot, tell us how it works.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned earlier, you need a quick burst of a lot of energy. And that's really the central design conflict. That's like what we designed it around. That's what we designed it for. And I think that's also where the most misconceptions are about how the robot functions. So I actually brought this with me to demonstrate. This is a syringe. And when I plug the one end and pull the plunger back, it creates a vacuum in the tube. And when I release that, it pops back in. And so that's where we store energy. That's how we gather that energy and release it all at once. The big piston in the middle of the robot is a custom piston, basically, that creates a vacuum and then releases all that energy. And it's really like two simple machines. If you think about it, we have a piston in the middle and then a pulley system on the top. And that's how most of the robot works. The piston moves down, the robot moves up, and all that energy is released quickly, and then the robot flies. And it also gets around some of the pneumatic rules that we all know are pretty strict on the robot. And so we're able to create a big enough piston to store enough energy.
And so how does it create that vacuum? Because I guess, naturally, like the physics of it makes sense, but how does that vacuum get created?
So most of it is in the pulling action of that piston. So there's an O-ring on the piston that perfectly seals it. So when you pull it to the top of the tube, it creates a vacuum in there. Now, one thing that you have to be careful for is that there's no air in the tube to start with. So there's also a vacuum pump that's on the robot that runs that. So basically, we have the tube with the piston sitting at the bottom. We pull all the air out, make sure there's nothing underneath that, and then winch that piston to the top. And when it gets to the top, it's pulled that vacuum naturally, just like the syringe. It pulls it and basically just creates an absence of air inside the tube.
That is so cool. That is so cool. All right. We have a video that was made, I believe, by First Canada photographer Eddie G. That's going to show some of the jumps from the season in slow-mo. So for those of you who haven't seen this before, and you're like, what are they all talking about? Why is this dude showing us a flow chart? And why is there a syringe on this show? This will explain. So let's take a look at the jumping robot.
Time slows down when it can get no worse. I can feel it running out on me. I don't want these to be my last words. All forgotten, 'cause that's all they'll be. Now there's
Sorry, we have to mute the video before the Twitch copyright people get at us. But this is, it defies explanation. I've been part of robots for 25 years now, and I've just never seen anything like this. And the whole idea of separating most of the robot from the bumpers, how did that come about?
That was mainly around the rule that says keep your bumpers low. If we didn't do that, we would have to have a really short stroke of the piston. Basically, we'd only be able to launch about 3 inches while keeping our bumpers below those 7 inches. And that's what Team 190 was trying to do. They're another team that was trying to attempt the jump. And if you watch their video, you can see they're trying to do that. They don't have 2 pieces in their robot. They just have 1 piece. But that means you're doing a really short stroke. And so then you need a lot of a big pressure difference, right? To get all the energy out at once. And we're using 1 atmosphere. So that just really didn't work. Right. We needed to come up with a way to keep the bumpers on the ground while releasing all that energy in a longer stroke. And so the 2 pieces really just elegantly falls around that solution.
Very cool. And so your robot, it started off, it was super, super cool, but it improved dramatically over the year because Waterloo, you got to the finals with 1114, who was just here. And then the jump didn't fire in the last 2 matches there. But then at Worlds, you jumped in all 15 matches. Every single match jumped successfully. And so what allowed you to become, because, you know, there's lots of teams that have cool stuff on their robot, but to be cool and consistent and effective, you nailed that at Worlds. So what improvements did you make to allow you to be more effective, be that effective, at perfect effectiveness at Worlds?
Yeah, the biggest thing I'd say is just the lock. So the 2 pieces are held together, and that's basically what's holding the force in once we've loaded the vacuum. And the locking piece that would do that would come undone during the match, like before we had pulled the energy. So it would just come undone while we're running around. And then at the end, we wouldn't be able to winch, because if we were to winch then, we've done it before accidentally, but basically the top of the robot would just slowly lift up. And it's a lot less impressive when the top of the robot just starts lifting up and you're left on the field with your mouse on the ground. And so it was honestly a simple thing. It was a geometry problem about the way the 2 pieces would lock together. And so a little bit of designing, prototyping, and reiterations of it, and we had it working very consistently. The second thing that we improved was how that tube is seated into the bottom piece. It was coming loose, and actually it's kind of a funny story. We all have these moments, but it was about an hour before our first qualification match at Provincials, and we had the whole bottom piece of the tube apart, and we were applying silicon to the base of the tube to get it to hold the bottom piece. So those 2 improvements were definitely the things that we had to make the jump a lot more consistent. But yeah, after that, like you said, we did all 15 matches at the first championship, and after that, it really just worked flawlessly.
It was so cool because every match at championship on your division, and I was there for most of them, a crowd would amass. Everyone wants to see it. And part of me was getting nervous. I'm like, oh, I hope it works. There's so many people who want to see this. And every time it did, it was just so, so cool. But I want to know, what was that experience like in Houston? I think we have some pictures of your team's journey in Houston. So let's take a look, and maybe someone wants to kind of narrate over these pictures.
Yeah, for sure. So this is actually a video of a picture of one of our team members, Adriana, talking to Dean Kamen during the playoffs at Worlds. At the time, she didn't actually recognize him. And it wasn't until after, when our media person told her, like, hey, like, how was it talking to Dean? That she was like, oh my Lord, like I just talked to Dean Kamen, like freaking out. That was really funny because she just had no idea until after.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next one. Oh, this is the crowd in the pits.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. It's just all hours of the day, there would be people just crowded around our pit.
Yeah, that's a very average amount of people standing around. This was awesome. This was 4907 being displayed on the Symbiotics sign for them to pick us during the Alliance selections. That was incredible. We were sitting across the stadium from them, and as soon as we saw that go up, like, we just went wild.
Did you have an idea that it was happening?
No, we had no clue. We had been, as soon as we passed by them the first time, we were like really hoping that we weren't going to get picked by anybody else and we could be with them. And then it was just a dream come true being able to compete with another Canadian team.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about this with 1114, but y'all were close to not 1323 in my mind might have had the best robot in the world. Between them, 254, 1690, it's very, very close. And very impressive. Almost knocked them off. 3 points you lost by in match 1, and the second match you took a red card and a penalty. Otherwise, that one, you had them on the ropes.
Yeah, for sure. It would have been amazing to see what we could have done in the Einstein field.
The building would have exploded if you were out there on Einstein and jumped. I wanted that to happen so badly. I remember at Champs in there's always these moments at Champs where the crowd just blows up. And in 2014, 11-14 unveiled a mechanism at Championship. It was a goalie stick that game to block shots, and they blocked 254. It was the first time 254 had missed an auto all year. 11-14 blocked 2 of their shots, and the stadium exploded. I was really hoping for that moment. Just I'm big on the crowd props. But anyways, tell us more. This next photo. This is at Worlds in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Not a whole lot here to be able to tell what's going on, but yeah, this could very well be in our playoffs because we are with 11-14.
Yeah.
Looks like we're lined up to do our 1-ball auto, which we'd been assigned to do. And then that would be after we won
quarterfinals. Yeah.
Yeah, won one of our matches in quarterfinals. Lots of excitement around that. That's Adriana representing Canada by wearing the flag. Very proud to be from Canada, and then just showing off what the Canadian teams are really made of.
It was an amazing performance by all the Canadian teams, especially considering how much time teams lost. You know, like 11-14 said they didn't start building until February 18th, which is wild. That's typically when teams are done building. How much time did you all lose?
Honestly, it wasn't too bad for us because we had a few people that were able to prototype just at the barn at their place, and so we really got like some online like virtual design sessions, some prototyping, and then after I think it was about 3 weeks that we might have lost, 2 or 3 weeks, and then we were able to get back and start building. So obviously it's not ideal, but I think we had it pretty good compared to some teams like 11-14 not starting till February.
Right. And do we have any more photos here? Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, this is the small crowd that we brought with us cheering for us.
Very cool. And those strategy sessions were intense between matches.
It was, especially in finals, there was a lot going on there.
Yeah, I had fortune to be a little bit part of that, so that was pretty cool. Emily, I want to know, do you have like a favorite moment from this season?
I'd say probably the moment that we won the creativity award at Carver, because like we were all sitting there like with like the team's representatives like to accept the award, and when we were like called that we won, like everyone around us was like really happy for us, and it was really nice to see. And like the crowd was cheering, and like we're up against like all of these amazing robots that all have like something creative about them. So it's like, it was just really exciting.
It was kind of cool, Emily, because just like talking to teams, they were just like, well, that's the award that makes the most sense. And everyone, it was just kind of cool because the whole community was rooting for you. And everyone was cheering for your team down there. Not just Canadians, Americans, Israelis, Mexicans. It was just super, super cool to see. Folks, we are running out of time here, but I guess I want to know, Thunderstamps, anything else you'd like to tell us? Any secrets that people have been asking about or anything like that before we go?
Just want to say, like, it's been so awesome talking to everybody that's came by the pits, getting to talk about their robot, our robot, explaining the processes that we used and implemented throughout the season. Definitely a great experience being able to share our thoughts with everybody.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the team. You've inspired and excited so many people, but it's not just in technical prowess. You all handle this fame so well, and we're so, from the first moment I talked to you to the last moment, so kind, so humble, so willing to extend credit and just be like, yeah, this is just really cool. It's cool to be a part of it, and that's really what Gracious Professionals was about. Like, it's excelling on the field, but cooperating off the field and being good folks. And it was just like, yeah, Thunderstamps are just a great example this year. So thank you so much. Congratulations on an amazing season. Can't wait to see what you come up with next year. Good luck trying to top this. That's going to be, I'm looking forward to like a flying robot or something. Who knows what I'll do some math and find something that's impossible. And then you'll probably figure out how to do it because y'all are very good at this. Congratulations to Thunderstamps. Thank you so much on an amazing season, folks. And
thanks for having us.
Good luck with the expecting delivery, my friend.
He's coming out tomorrow. I'm telling you.
There you go. There you go. Right. Gonna jump right out, right?
Funny guy.
All right. See you, folks.
Thanks.
All right, Shrila, that marks the end of season 3 of First Canada Live.
Wow. It's been like a hectic season. I'm not ready to accept that it's the end of the season. I haven't had like the big, oh my goodness, it's all over cry yet. But I think it's starting to sink in after this.
It is, I always have the same feeling at the end of provincials, where it's just like, wow, this is over and this is happening. I remember that this year, like we handed out the final award. We handed out the chairman's award at to team 1305 Ice Cubed, and it was just, and I walk off the stage and I was like, wow, it's over. And it was the same thing in Houston. You and I had the fortune of being there, and then you watched Einstein. We watched 254 and 1619 win that event, and it's like, it's like there's this weird sense of joy, because it's like you're so happy for everyone. You see your friends succeed and everything, and then there's the sadness of like, oh, it's over. And I don't want to go back to non-event season, because there's something so special about this community feel and everything like that. And so I, right away, I was already like, okay, I'm ready for like another season. I'm ready to go and everything like this. And so it was special. I want to say thank you to our entire community for your resilience this season, for every team who was able to compete, but not just the ones who were able to compete, to the teams who weren't able to compete, who still supported in some way. We can't wait to have everyone back next year. I can't wait to see what our grade 12s all do in the future as alumni and as volunteers and as mentors. And I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people in person at the Youth Summit in just a few weeks. And so really recommend checking that out. I know Shrila and Julia, who are here, are going to have a lot of cool stuff planned from the Youth Council, and there's going to be a lot of networking going on, some cool presentations from sponsors. It's going to be a really fun event. I know I'm working on pulling together a panel discussion actually with some really cool folks, so it's going to be good. Shrila, anything to say to everyone to close us out here?
And this is actually my final year too. So, and I've been with First since like grade 4 or 5. So it's been a while, and I guess to the graduating class, like I think we can all agree that this was a really amazing amazing year to like end off our senior year with. And I personally am really excited to I unfortunately won't be in Canada, but I'm very excited to like continue volunteering, hopefully wherever I end up. And I hope I see a lot of my friends who are also seniors coming back to volunteer and mentor.
We got to find a way for you to get back. When's your spring break? For those of you who don't know, Shrila, am I allowed to say? I won't.
Yeah, you can.
Shrila has been accepted to Harvard and will be starting at Harvard in the fall. But do you know when your spring break is?
I actually don't know. I know we have like a winter break that's about a month for January, December, January. Yeah. I don't think we really.
Well, we got to find a way, because
spring break is a big thing down there, I've heard.
Yeah. So another youth council alumni, Namira, goes to Harvard. Yeah. It's like the two of you got to drive back together for an event to volunteer.
We'll do that.
We'll do that. Hey everyone, thank you to our amazing audience, for everyone who's tuned in for any of our episodes, whether it be live, whether it be on the Twitch archive, whether it be on YouTube. We truly appreciate you. I love the show. It's great to connect with our community every Tuesday night or every other Tuesday night. And we will be back next year with more fun stuff. And I don't want to say that, but we got plans. We got plans for some cool things about First Canada Live. So everyone, enjoy your summer. Get outside, go for walks, go for runs, play some baseball, go to a Jays game, have fun. Stay safe while doing so. Remember, COVID is still out there. So we do have to be, we can let our guard down a little bit, but we still have to be cautious. We can be safe, but have fun at the same time. There's a balance in there. And so let's do all the right things. Let's keep our community safe, keep being awesome, and we will see you all sometime soon. Bye, everyone.